This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
Some people say, oh, AI stinks. ChatGPT is no good. Guess what, everyone who's saying that? You're wrong. You just have no clue what you're doing. So no, ChatGPT does not suck. Your prompts do. All right, I'm excited for today's episode. Welcome to Everyday AI. My name's Jordan Wilson. I am your host, and Everyday AI is for you. This is your daily live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter helping everyday people like you and me learn and leverage generative AI. So as we do every single day, before we get into that topic, and I'm extremely excited, let's take a very quick look at what's going on in the world of AI news. So the Accenture CTO says the biggest worry for job consolidation is not using AI. In a recent report, Accenture CTO stressed the need to prioritize employee development over investing solely in AI technology. And despite the potential for job consolidation, the CTO said humans will still play a crucial role in the effective use of AI. Speaking of the effective use of AI, the New York Times is making headlines of its own on the effective use of AI. So the New York Times has hired an editorial director of artificial intelligence initiatives as media organizations explore the use of AI newsrooms while grappling with ethical considerations. The New York Times has hired Quartz co-founder Zach Stewart to establish principles for the use of AI in the New York Times newsroom. Seward will also create a team to experiment with AI tools and help design training programs for journalists. This one is especially interesting for me, given I spent about 7 or 8 years as a full-time journalist. And I'll tell you this, if there's one thing, and I'm not speaking for the New York Times, but if there's one thing that especially medium-sized newspapers want to do is it's cut staff. If I'm being honest, it's been like that for 15 years. So this is going to be interesting to see how the New York Times adapts to this new kind of division or department, how they use it ultimately in the long run, especially when it comes to employee count. So keep an eye on that and keep an eye on all medium-sized newspapers to try to emulate what the New York Times is doing. All right. Last but not least, we know AI can help in healthcare, but it can hurt as well. So according to a new report detailing a class action lawsuit against a Medicare insurer, this class action lawsuit filed against the health insurer Humana accuses the company of using an AI algorithm to systematically deny seniors rehabilitation care recommended by their doctors. Not good. This is the second lawsuit filed against a major health insurer for using an AI tool to restrict medically necessary care for Medicare Advantage patients. So not good, right? We always talk about great uses of AI in healthcare, but here's a negative one. So if you want to know more about those news stories, and there's always more, make sure to go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter. We don't just recap every single day's podcast. There's also a whole lot more. So yes, we do cover these news stories and more. We have what's called Fresh Finds, which is just different AI happenings around the internet, and a lot more inside the newsletter. So if you haven't signed up, make sure you do. If you're listening on the podcast, go check your show notes. The link's in there. If you're listening on the live stream, we put the link in there. So make sure to go to youreverydayai.com and sign up for that free daily newsletter. All right. I'm excited to talk about also the AI Inner Circle. So if you haven't already signed up for the newsletter and you want to, you're going to want to pay attention to the AI Inner Circle. We were trying to release it, our next iteration in December. It might not be till January, but we will announce it. We are going to be doing a live and a free session on building GPTs inside of ChatGPT. There's a lot of things, obviously, that people on the internet are getting wrong, and that's making your GPTs not perform the way they should. And also, if you are interested and just want to know, well, what are these GPTs? Well, it's a new feature, a new mode inside ChatGPT where you can essentially create a custom version of ChatGPT for yourself, for your business. So make sure to join the newsletter. Just reply, say AI Inner Circle, and I'll put you on the early access list for that free event as well. So I want to know from you all about ChatGPT. Because there's been a lot of stories recently, and I have one up here on my screen, that people are complaining. And this is relatively new because the ChatGPT account responded to this on its Twitter. I can't call it X, y'all. I'm sorry. But a lot of people are complaining that ChatGPT is getting lazier. And I want to know what your thoughts are. And I also want to know from our audience joining us live. And thank you, Barbie, for joining us. Jay, as always. Tara, good morning to you. Brian, Michael, hey, everyone. It's great. It's great to see you and hear from you. But let me know right now, what is either your one best ChatGPT prompting tip or the one biggest mistake that you made prompting inside ChatGPT? Because I want to take a look at it today. I actually, as weird as this sounds, we're on 160 some episodes of Everyday AI. We've done a lot of episodes on ChatGPT and other large language models, but we haven't done an episode specifically on prompting. You know, sometimes I forget that even though we do a free prompting course literally twice a week, we have one tomorrow. It's called Prime Prompt Polish. So if you want access to that, just type in PPP in the comments. I'll send you a link. But we haven't actually talked about the concept of prompting on this show, which is crazy. But I'd hate to break it to all these news organizations that are just covering people complaining on Twitter about ChatGPT getting lazier. It's not. We humans using large language models are getting lazier. We are not using them how they should be used, right? There is a process that you should go through when working with large language models that most people are skipping. So I am going to go over today in today's episode on the 5 biggest prompting mistakes that people are making as well. But I also want to hear from our audience, right? So if you are a normal podcast listener, maybe you're listening on your commute to work, or maybe this is your afternoon time doing the dishes. I love hearing from people. They email me and they say, "Oh, I listen to the show at this time." It's always so fun to hear. But regardless, I want to spend this time hearing from the live audience about your biggest prompting, either mistakes or your best prompting tip as we get into today's show about why ChatGPT doesn't suck, right? Love this from Maybrit. So Maybrit, thanks for joining us as always. She says, this tip hardly fails me. Tell me in a percentage how much you understand of this prompt. Yeah, it's a great one. I think Maybrit, we talked about this months ago. It's asking ChatGPT for a confidence score is fantastic, right? And the biggest thing with ChatGPT or any large language model is you always want to do 2 things. You want to increase the quality of the output, and you want to decrease hallucinations or made up stuff, right? Like we talked yesterday, hallucination is dictionary.com's word of the year. So you always want to, when prompting in ChatGPT, you want to increase the quality of the output, and you want to decrease the likelihood of having hallucinations. And Maybrit's tip is a great one. Right there. Another one from Tara here. I love, this is something we teach in our course, but the reminder to ask ChatGPT to recap everything to ensure it remembers. Yes, you always have to test ChatGPT as you are talking to it to make sure it is recalling and retaining the information. That's another great one. All right. And more of a big picture question here from Jay. Jay, thanks. So saying, as large language models evolve, will the need to pay as much attention to prompting? Yes. I think so. There will always, I think, be a need for human input. The input type and the input methodology may change, right? Because right now, for the most part, I'd say most people are inputting with text, right? So within ChatGPT, you are typing a text response. Sometimes you may be inputting a photo or uploading a PDF with very little text response. I do think, obviously, the future of large language models is multimodality, right? So we saw that with Gemini, even though I accidentally roasted them yesterday. But prompts even how we prompt is going to change. I think it is going to be much more of our voice. It is going to be video. It is going to be a combination, multimodality. I wouldn't even be surprised in the future, right? If we're able to, whether it's through HTML or something else, input all of those things at once, right? To input text, image, text, image, video, and audio all in one prompt. But I think that's where the future is heading. But regardless, the methodology of prompting, I don't think is going to change, but maybe how we input something, Jay, will. All right. Look at this. People just being a commercial for this. I love it. What's up, Katie? Katie said, for anyone who hasn't joined Jordan's Prime Prompt Polish webinar, get on it. It's been a game changer. That's awesome. Thanks, Katie. And then Tara saying 100% PPP and PPP Pro. Yes. Check your emails today. We're going to have an email out about our pro course, which is free as well, right? Yes, I am going to get into this. Sometime this one time someone left a 1-star review and says, hey, the host takes too long to get to the point and you might as well listen on 1.5x. Well, I agree. You might as well listen on 2x. But yes, you got to get onto the PPP, Prime Prompt Polish, and the Pro. But let's get into these mistakes that you're making, because to answer that question that I just rhetorically posed 5 minutes ago about, is ChatGPT getting lazier according to reports? No, just people are expecting more out of large language models and they're doing less, right? So let's talk about the 5 biggest prompting mistakes that people are making that will show you that ChatGPT doesn't suck. Your prompts do, right? And I think we saw this especially maybe 6 months ago or so, when ChatGPT and other large language models were really starting to pick up steam. And, there's this big conversation about, will AI take your job? Yes or no? And people would share. And this was actually one of the driving factors behind, what was pushing this conversation forward of, will AI take your job or not? People were sharing their prompts and the results from ChatGPT and saying, oh, see, AI won't take your job. Look at how bad this response is. And I should have responded to those people, but I try to be a nice person of no, it's just saying you suck at ChatGPT or you suck at large language models, right? I like to be nice, but that's the reality, right? The reality, y'all, and I talk about this in the PPP course, I've been getting paid to write for 20 plus years. Yes, I'm maybe older than the nice camera makes me look, but I've been getting paid to write for 20 plus years, and ChatGPT is a better writer than me, period. Will I get that quality of writing with a copy and paste prompt? Absolutely not. But ChatGPT is a better writer than me if you take the time to use ChatGPT and if you correctly, and if you take the time to learn prompting. Because here's the reality, y'all. Prompting is an essential skill set in the future, right? Right now, you may not be prompting every day, but as generative AI comes to our operating system, so I'm looking at things like Microsoft Copilot coming to the operating system, or with generative AI coming to where you work, right? As an example, maybe you work on AWS, Amazon Web Services, and Q, their Amazon Q is being released. Whether you know it or not, sooner rather than later, you will be spending a good chunk of your day prompting, right? As enterprise companies start to adapt Gen AI, as Gen AI comes to our desktop with Microsoft Copilot, who knows what Apple is going to be releasing with their Ajax model. But regardless, the same way that we search the internet hourly now, if you are a knowledge worker working at a desk, you will be prompting hourly soon. So you need to understand that prompting is a skill set and you need to learn it. Do not look for shortcuts. All right. Enough wind up. Let's talk about the 5 biggest mistakes. Well, you could probably already guess mistake number 1 is using copy and paste super prompts. The bane of my existence, y'all. Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on Gen AI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use Gen AI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too, just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on Gen AI. Because we all see these, right? These things that say, 25 insanely useful prompts, right? That'll change your life or blah, 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 right? These follow me everywhere now because here's what happens. And here's why you should never use these. All of these people on LinkedIn and Twitter. Yeah. I think the Hot Take Tuesday is carrying over into a Wednesday. They're creating these useless prompt books, right? And they want you to either buy them or give an email for them. They don't work. They're garbage. Copy and paste prompts do not work. Is it better than nothing? Absolutely, right? But you cannot use a copy and paste prompt and get anything higher than a B minus, right? If you want actual quality, if you want something that is human level, if you want something that you can actually use without spending hours massaging the content or whatever the output is, you can't use copy and paste prompts, period. So stop falling for all these tricks. These are just literally, this is online marketing 101 from the early 2000s. Stop giving your email and buying prompt books or using these prompts, right? It's fine if you're using it for an idea starter. But prompting is a skill. If you're just trying to use copy and paste prompts, all you are doing is screwing your future self over, right? Because when you are having to prompt on an hourly basis, yeah, it's nice. Have a prompt library, right? Like if your job is repetitive, there's probably some type of prompts that you will be able to use consistently, but it's always better to create an expert chat. It works better. We're going to get into that in a second. All right, so that's mistake number one. And also, as we're going along here, if you have questions, please let me know. Drop them in the chat. I got to make sure to include the awesome everyday AI audience. Sometimes when I get in a rant, like Ben here, what's going on, Ben? So Ben's saying, initially, most of us were not good using Google to search. Did we get better asking Google, or did Google get better at answering? Likely, it'll be the same with Gen AI. That's a great observation, Ben. I think the difference is, for the most part, Google never changed the rules of searching, right? Even going back to the first days of Google, you could always do Boolean search. I guess the only major change in the last, 20 plus years is being able to search with an image. But for the most part, search's functionality has not changed. Whereas large language models functionality is changing rapidly, right? It's no longer text to text. It's text to photo. It's text to video. It's video to photo, video to text, video to photo, right? So the functions of large language models are changing in a much different way than search. All right. So mistake number two, looking for outputs versus building skill sets. All right. So many times when people are prompting, they're looking at a large language model the wrong way. Okay. They're saying, oh, I don't want to do X right now, so let me just jump into ChatGPT. Nothing wrong with that. But again, you're going to get C+, B- results. Okay. And if you want that human level quality, you have to change your mindset when working inside of ChatGPT or any other large language model, right? I just gave a speech at the AI Summit in New York City, which I think is one of the biggest AI summits in the world. And I talked obviously about ChatGPT. And I had so many people come up afterwards and say, I've been using ChatGPT and other large language models just to get an output, right? And that in the long run is such a time waster, right? Because you're just going to click new chat, you're going to go in there and you're looking for, a new policy for your HR department, or you're looking for a response for an email or whatever it is, right? And is that going to save you some time? Yes, but not as much as you think, because copy and paste zero-shot prompting is not going to get you anything of quality. So you're still going to have to probably spend some time on the back end, quote unquote, fixing it, right? If you change your mindset and start to build skill sets inside of ChatGPT, which is what we teach in the Prime Prompt Polish course, that's when you can actually get usable, consistently high quality outputs from ChatGPT, because you build a skill set that way. Yeah, more on that later. Yeah, because we've been trained, kind of like what Ben was talking about. Yeah, we've been using search engines for a quarter century. And we've always been trained one input, one output, right? And that is not how a large language model works. It's not. Can it give you one output with one input? Yes, right? But that's the whole concept of, without getting too technical, but we kind of talked about it yesterday on the Google Gemini, when they were comparing, 5-shot prompts to 32-shot chain of thought, right? Without getting too technical, you always get better results, right? If we're talking about 0-shot, 5-shot, whatever, a shot is essentially a back and forth or an example. And obviously, every single benchmark ever shows you get much better results on all of these benchmarks when you're 5-shot versus 0-shot, 32-shot versus 5-shot, right? So think, you should be prompting the same way. You shouldn't be 0-shotting, which is just putting in a prompt and looking for a response without giving examples, without going back and forth. You need to be building a skill set, going back and forth, not just one input, one output. That is a search engine, y'all. That is not a large language model. Stop using it like this. It's all the fault of these people on social media that have these pods, these engagement groups, and they say, all right, I'm going to post my prompt book today. Make sure all 50 of you say this is the best thing ever. And then all of you people out there think it's the best thing ever. And then you try these copy and paste prompts. They absolutely stink. And then eventually you come to the PPP course and you say, oh, I know how to use a large language model now. Just skip it. Just come straight to the course, or just stop using copy and paste prompts. All right. Number 3, not using skill-based chats, right? So those two kind of go hand in hand, but let me give an example. And this is literally taking a page out of our free Prime Prompt Polish training. So again, if you want to access, just say PPP. I'll tell you how to access, but you need to treat a new chat inside of ChatGPT like an employee that you are trying to train. Okay. So even think of, these long, super mega prompts, right? They're like, 5 pages long, because someone out there is selling those. Stop buying them. But that is the equivalent of, if you have a brand new employee and you throw a giant 200-page training manual on their desk and then instantly say, now go do your job, right? I use this analogy all the time, but it's the best way to illustrate how you should be prompting. If you do that, that employee is going to fail, and you are going to fail in your role overseeing that employee. So you need to have that same mindset that you are overseeing an expert chat inside of ChatGPT, because when you start a new chat inside of ChatGPT, it both knows nothing and it knows everything at the same time. All right. So you need to go through, and this is the priming, right? Without giving away our entire course here, but this is the priming phase when we talk about Prime Prompt Polish. You need to go through an onboarding phase, just like you would with a new employee, going back and forth, and onboarding, training, reinforcement learning, feedback, testing, knowledge sharing. All right. And that is where you come up with this expert chats. This is another thing that we teach But this is just an easy way, kind of like a marketing and messaging thing, but every single chat that you start inside ChatGPT should be an expert at one very specific skill set. Okay. You don't just start a chat and say, all right, this is my Wednesday chat, and I'm going to go in there for anything. Or you don't just start a new chat for every single prompt. You build a skill set and use that skill set, that one very specific skill set, whenever you need it. You scroll down and you say, all right, here's my research and analysis skill set that's based on this element of my role. Here is my creative copywriting skill set for email marketing for my company, right? Every single chat is a skill set, and you need to train it accordingly. All right, mistake number 4. Yeah, like Tara says, onboarding. LinkedIn user, sorry, I can't see your name. Examples. I don't want this to accidentally turn into an hour long show, but yeah, we give examples in our free Prime Prompt Polish course. All right, so mistake number 4, saying you're an expert in blank with blank years of experience. This is hilarious. Guess what? That does absolutely nothing. Right? A large language model has the entirety of the open internet, the closed internet, literary works, movies, right? It has GPT-4 has 1.8 trillion parameters. So saying or telling ChatGPT that it is an expert with blank years of experience, that does about nothing, right? Go test this on your own. Do that version and then start a new chat and go through Prime Prompt Polish, and you'll see every single time by training a skill set, you will wipe the floor with saying you're an expert in this with blank years of experience. Here's why. And I use this example in the course, right? Let's say copywriting, to say you're an expert level copywriter with 20 years of experience. Okay. Remember how I just said large language models are trained on the entirety and the history of the open internet and the closed internet? There's a lot of people putting out information online that say, hey, I'm a copywriter with 20 years of experience, with 30 years of experience. Here's all of the tips you need. Guess what? A lot of people out there putting information out on the internet claiming to be experts stink. So if you are that open-ended with a prompt inside of ChatGPT without giving examples, right? So like saying, hey, these are the 3 copywriters you should be emulating. These are the 3 copywriting styles you should be using. These are the 3 copywriting conversions, or the 3 copywriting outputs that we need out of our copy, and giving examples of all of those. If you just say you're an expert with blank years of experience, that's why you're not getting anything usable out of ChatGPT, or you're frustrated, or you're like, oh, AI won't take our jobs. Look how bad the output is. Well, you're not doing it correctly. That's number 4. All right. Cecilia, thanks for the question. Cecilia asking, how does the building of the skill set of your chat affect the usage of tokens? Yes. Great question. It eats your tokens up, right? So no, ChatGPT does not have 128,000 token memory. Sam Altman on November 7th said that GPT-4 Turbo was coming to ChatGPT. GPT-4 Turbo has 128,000 tokens. I just tested this last week. I haven't tested it yet this week, so unless it's changed, but I doubt it has. But right now, that's a great point, Cecilia, because when you are building a skill set, what you are probably doing is you are sending a lot of text back and forth. So all of that text back and forth essentially eats up ChatGPT's memory. Right now, ChatGPT Plus, if you're on the paid version, has a memory of 32,000 tokens, which I believe is about 25,000-ish words, give or take, right? So at a certain point, ChatGPT will start to forget things. So yes, as you are building that skill set, in theory, you are starting to eat away at ChatGPT's memory, but that's why in our free Prime Prompt Polish course, we teach you ways around that. But great question, Cecilia. All right. So like I said, number 4 is saying you're an expert in blank with blank years of experience. Garbage. Doesn't help. All right. And number 5, and here we go. Looking at ChatGPT as a shortcut. All right. Here's the thing. and I'm kind of twisting this one on its head. ChatGPT is the ultimate shortcut, right? To grow your company, to grow your career. But you have to build the road. You have to build that shortcut, okay? You can't just copy and paste something in or do a halfway job of prompting, okay? What I like to tell people, again, think of it the exact same as an employee. New employee comes in who knows nothing and the ability to know everything at the same time, right? That's the thing. If you train ChatGPT the right way, if you use it the right way, it is better than humans at most knowledge-based tests, right? We've seen that with these recent benchmarks, GPT-4, allegedly Google Gemini Ultra. Large language models are getting better than humans at knowledge-based tests, but only if you use it the right way, okay? So it is an employee that is smarter than the smartest human who sits down at your desk, and everyone just wants to throw a giant 200-page training manual at it and say, go, because it's a shortcut. It's smart. It can work for me, right? Yes. But you have to put the work in, right? Prompting isn't just about trying to get the best quality something as quickly as possible. It is training a replacement for one of your skill sets. Using ChatGPT correctly is replicating one of your skill sets. It is automating one of the things that you do every day. Okay. It is systemizing your manual work on autopilot, but you have to put in the work. You have to do it correctly. You have to build the shortcut. And then once you do, then ChatGPT is a cheat code. But most of y'all just want to put in copy and paste prompts. So no, to wrap things up, no, ChatGPT does not suck. Your prompts do. Stop reposting those people on social media. Stop buying into using other copy and paste prompts. Like I said, if you're brand new and if you just want to see the capabilities, it's an okay start. And yes, C's get degrees, as the saying here in the US goes, but all those copy and paste prompts are going to do, the best case scenario is get you a C. If you want to get to the point where ChatGPT can work at the same level as you, where it does become a true shortcut, where you can start to truly automate your work, where you can start to, 5x, 10x your outputs and get usable content in return, you have to go through the proper channels. You have to build it up. And that's where our free Prime Prompt Polish course comes in, right? People already said it here. I didn't say it, right? Tara said it, 100% PPP. Katie said it. Other people said, we've had thousands. We've literally had now thousands of people take our PPP course, from entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, to Fortune 100 business leaders. Yeah, we've literally had people from top 20 companies in the world take our free Prime Prompt Polish course and give 5-star reviews. All right, it's free. There's no upsell at the end. This is why I do this, right? I firmly and truly believe that prompting isn't something that should be smoke and marketing mirrors online. It is an essential skill set, and it can be hard to learn the basics, right? Because in the end, someone's always trying to sell you some crap. Or, yeah, you can kind of learn how to prompt from a big company, but in the end, they're really just giving you, what's going to work best for their systems, or they're pushing you into their system. So with Everyday AI, with our free Prime Prompt Polish course, you get an unbiased, free way to learn an essential skill set. And we do it twice a week, right? We do it Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you want access to that, just let me know. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you learned that no, ChatGPT doesn't suck. Your prompts do. Please, this was helpful. Share this post, share this podcast with a friend. Leave us a rating if you can. But more than anything, if you haven't, my gosh, go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter, and we'll see you back tomorrow and every day with Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.